right now. You're hurtling through space at 67,000 miles per hour on a wet rock that's spinning around a nuclear furnace, which itself is racing around a galaxy containing 400 billion other stars. And here's the thing. The universe has no idea you exist. It doesn't care about your problems, your dreams, or whether you had a good day. But before you close this video thinking I'm here to depress you, let me tell you why being nothing makes you everything, and how it can free you from the very anxieties that brought you to this video. This is the cosmic scale, the light from the nearest star left home when the Egyptian pyramids were being built. The light from distant galaxies began its journey before Earth existed. By the time you die, the same light will still be traveling through space, carrying no memory of the civilization that briefly flickered while it passed by. This is how vast the distances are on a cosmic scale. Your greatest achievements, your worst failures, your deepest loves, from the universe's perspective, are as insignificant as a bacteria to us. This is a metaphor. This is the sobering reality of cosmic irrelevance. Quoting from the book of Ecclesiastes, "Then I considered all that my hands had done, and the toil I had spent in doing it, and behold, all was vanity and a striving after wind, and there was nothing to be gained under the sun." But here's where it gets interesting. These same insignificant creatures, these bacteria in the cosmic backwater, have somehow learned to measure and decipher the very cosmos that renders them meaningless. This is the story of humanity's cosmic rebellion. In addition, I gave them fire. Aeschylus, Prometheus bound. When they burned the library of Alexandria, the crowd cheered in horrible joy. They understood that there was something older than wisdom, and it was fire, and something truer than words, and it was ashes. Frog K, in response to Guitar Center for not using the picture of a guitar as a G in their logo. Fire came before words. Fire came before civilization. Fire came before everything. Every mythology on Earth tells the same story. Prometheus steals fire from gods. Loki brings flame. Aboriginal Dreamtime tells fire theft stories. Why does every culture tell this story? Because it actually happened. Not literally, but metaphorically. We're talking about conscious apes that crawled out of 13.8 billion years of unconscious rock and gas. These impossible creatures looked at lightning, looked at the forest fires, looked at God's exclusive power and said, "We're taking that." The science confirms the myth. Archaeological evidence from Wonderwork Cave shows controlled fire use 1 million years ago, escalating to systematic fire making by 790,000 years ago at Gesher Benot Yaakov. Just think about that timeline. We mastered fire 790,000 years before we invented writing. With fire, we were able to cook our food. This tripled our brain size while halving digestion time. We traded massive guts for massive minds. Fire literally cooked our consciousness into being. But here's the real magic. Fire gave us the night. While other mammals slept 10 to 12 hours, we compressed sleep to 7 to 8 hours. This not only created vast territories of wakeful time, but fundamentally altered the trajectory of human consciousness itself. Around those stolen flames, we developed something unprecedented: extended social cognition. The campfire became humanity's first think tank, where storytelling, abstract thought, and innovation flourished beyond mere survival. Those extra hours of consciousness created a feedback loop with our expanding brains. More wakeful time meant more neural activity, more cultural knowledge. Fire enabled the first humans to migrate out of Africa and colonize frozen continents that should have killed us. We stopped merely adapting to environments and began actively reshaping them. This established the template for everything human. Refuse limitations, create meaning through conscious action, maintain the audacity to create light in a universe that doesn't care if we live or die. but fire was just the beginning. Because once humanity learned to rebel against the dark, we set our sights on conquering something even more impossible: time itself. Telepathy, of course. It's amusing when you stop to think about it. For years, people have argued about whether or not such a thing exists, and all the time, it's been right there, lying out in the open like Mr. Poe's purloined letter. All the arts depend upon telepathy to some degree, but I believe that writing offers the purest distillation. Stephen King, on writing, a memoir of the craft. When writers die, they become books, which is, after all, not too bad an incarnation. Jorge Luis Borges. Humanity's second act of cosmic rebellion began around those stolen flames. As our ancestors gathered in firelight, something unprecedented emerged from the darkness. For the first time in Earth's 4.5 billion year history, one mind could directly transmit complex thoughts to another mind. This is spoken language. This was consciousness breaking free from individual skulls. Around those hearths, knowledge could leap from brain to brain. Stories of successful hunts, warnings about predators, techniques for tool making. Suddenly, wisdom didn't have to die with its discoverer. We had begun our conquest of time with the invention of language. Those conversations around the fireplace weren't just for entertainment. They were humanity's first external hard drives. Myths encoded survival knowledge. Epic poems preserved cultural wisdom. Creation stories transmitted moral frameworks. We became the only species to inherit the thoughts of the dead. Yet spoken language had a fatal flaw. It was still mortal. Stories could be forgotten. Knowledge could be distorted. Wisdom could vanish with the last storyteller. So humanity committed an even more audacious rebellion. 5,000 years ago, we invented a technology for making thoughts physical. We figured out how to record abstract ideas in permanent marks. Written language didn't just preserve thoughts. It liberated them entirely from the constraints of human memory. You're experiencing this miracle right now. Symbols on a screen are rearranging the neurons in your living brain. You're being possessed by ideas from minds that may no longer exist. When you read Hamlet's "to be or not to be," a consciousness that died 400 years ago is directly manipulating your thoughts. This is technological telepathy across time. Written language created something that had never existed in cosmic history: immortalization of thoughts. Ideas could now be reproduced with high fidelity across centuries, building exponentially upon themselves. The acceleration was explosive. Plato's logic could now mingle with Newton's physics. Darwin's evolution could dance with Einstein's relativity. We created an immortal conversation spanning millennia, with each generation building precisely on the accumulated wisdom of all previous generations. Through language, we transformed from individual mortals into a collective immortal mind. We refuse to accept that ideas must die with the brain that created it. But if stealing fire made us rebels against nature's darkness, and language made us rebels against the mortality of thoughts, our third rebellion would be the most impossible yet. We decided to shoot for the stars. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Arthur C. Clarke. I think we're going to the moon because it's in the nature of the human being to face challenges. We're required to do these things just as salmon swim upstream. Neil Armstrong. In just 66 years, we went from barely leaving the ground to leaving the planet entirely. Humanity's third rebellion wasn't just about reaching space. It was about refusing to accept Earth as our permanent prison. Since the advent of the 20th century, we've discovered that the universe is vastly larger than we initially comprehended. Technologies like the Hubble telescope have allowed us to peer through the cosmic veil and witness our complete insignificance. Those mesmerizing videos that zoom out from Earth to show our microscopic place in the universe reveal a profound truth. that we are utterly, incomprehensibly small. Yet, we refuse to accept our limitations as mere bacteria in the galactic backwater. It was an act of utter cosmic defiance when we launched Sputnik in 1957. We looked at the infinite void that had confined every living thing to this single wet rock for 4.5 billion years and declared, "We're breaking out." Every rocket launch represents humanity's refusal to accept planetary boundaries. When Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon, he wasn't just planting a flag, he was proving that conscious beings could transcend the gravitational prison that had held all life captive. But our greatest achievement may be the Voyager probes, the fastest object humanity has ever hurled into the cosmos. Launched in 1977, these spacecraft have become our most profound ambassadors to the universe, carrying human thoughts and sounds beyond our solar system at 38,000 miles per hour. Voyager 1 gave us a pale blue dot photograph. From 3.7 billion miles away, Earth appears as a tiny speck suspended in a sunbeam, fragile, insignificant, almost invisible against the cosmic dark. As Carl Sagan would say, everyone you love, everyone you know, every human who ever lived their entire existence on that pale blue dot. This image should have crushed us with our own insignificance. Instead, we realized that Earth's fragility wasn't a source of despair, but a call to stewardship. Paraphrasing Carl Sagan, here was our home, impossibly rare and delicate, containing every story ever told, every love ever felt, every dream ever conceived, suspended like a luminous jewel against the vast cosmic nothingness. The pale blue dot revealed our ultimate paradox. We're beings too small to be visible from space, yet significant enough to capture that very image. Conscious beings don't need cosmic importance to create meaning. We've transformed from accidents of chemistry into explorers of infinity, carrying Earth's story to the stars. We are finite beings with infinite curiosity, and that combination has made us magnificent. Once you understand humanity's pattern of cosmic rebellion, you realize something profound about the nature of meaning itself. We aren't given meaning by the universe. We impose meaning onto it through deliberate rebellion against natural constraints. The same rebellious spirit that let us steal fire from the gods, preserve thoughts across millennia, and launch ourselves beyond Earth's gravity well is available to you right now. When you realize that you account for less than a fraction of a microsecond in the cosmic timescale, you're liberated from the impossible burden of universal importance. We are random atoms that coalesced into a form that can contemplate its own consciousness, exist for roughly 4,000 weeks, and then disappear again into the cosmic dark. Yet within that brief flicker of awareness, we can choose rebellion over resignation. You don't need anyone's permission to create meaning. You don't need to be the next Hemingway when you write, the next Mozart when you play piano, or the next Mr. Beast when you make your YouTube video. Every time you refuse to accept that's just how things are, every time you push beyond what seems possible, you're continuing humanity's 700,000-year tradition of cosmic defiance. The universe may not care about your existence, but that's precisely what makes your rebellion against limitations so beautifully human. Before you leave, I would like to share a quote by Albert Camus with you all. The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion. Thanks for watching.